And welcome back to another video of my fish room. Look, nothing in the middle. I know, if you haven't seen my fish room videos before, you'll have no idea what on earth I'm talking about. If you have, nothing in the middle. Isn't that great? I'm gonna go through the basics of what I've moved around, what are in my tanks currently. Before we run out of light, we should probably do the African cichlids. So these are all Malawi cichlids. No Tanganyikans, unfortunately, at the moment. I do want a couple more different Tanganyikans. Yeah, where do we even start? So this system, if you didn't see it in the last video, is only about a month old now. Pumped the water from these tanks, which are 4 foot by 18. From these tanks, which are 4 foot by 3 foot. So my Africans were down there. They're currently empty. Redtail cat, which is 21 years old, is in there. Bumblebee groper. Behind that algae, that's full salt water. That is a mess. We'll deal with that soon. Everything is kind of a mess, but my African cichlids are doing well. Unfortunately, my white lips, and by unfortunately, half of them are males. I think I've got 6 of them, so there's at least 3 boys and 3 girls. My Champsiochromis spiralincus, I'm pretty sure they're Champsiochromis. They keep changing scientific names on me. I've had fish like these for like 20 plus years, and the names keep changing and changing. Unfortunately, the 4 I have are all boys. I thought there was 2 girls and 2 boys, but they're all starting to get the same color to them. They're only little, so hopefully I can buy another 5 or 6 of them, grow them up, and actually have some girls. Because 4 boys are not great. They are awesome fish, they will color up. Not much color in these tanks at the moment because I don't have lights on them, and we're sort of late afternoon, so that's why they're looking yellowy colored with the natural light going through. Down the bottom I have, at least we have some girl Lombardis. They are the blue ones. I have no idea what their scientific name is now, something rather Lombardi. It keeps changing again, and by keep changing, it was different like 20 years ago. I should know, but they're Lombardi. So I bred these ones myself, grew these ones up. Girls are the blue ones, and the boys like that yellow one over there. I think there's 2 boys in here somewhere. There's the other little boy not showing his full color because he's not the dominant one. I have fry from them, they're fine. My Dimbiachromis, which are these guys here. I think there are 4 boys. 1, 2, 3, 4 boys. And I think there's 2 girls. There's definitely a girl. They're just about breeding size. Crappy odds again. So when you're breeding Malawi cichlids, you want more girls than boys, ideally. So a little bit of a fail with growing them up, but they are about a year old from little tiny, tiny ones who've been growing up. My, what are they called? Malawi sand divers. Oh, I cannot remember the name, and I've just been saying the name all day. But these guys here, Rostratus, that's what they are with the spots on them. I think we have 2 boys. We've got at least 2 boys. They're just starting to get that bluey sort of tinge to them. And I know I've at least got 2 girls in there, maybe 3 girls. So they're just about mature enough to breed. And then I have 2 of these guys, which are Venistis. I think they used to be Nimbiachromis venistis. I have no idea what they are now. We'll just say Nimbiachromis venistis, probably wrong. But 2 girls, I just need to find a boy for them. They are super easy. All these are mouth brooders, which means that they have babies in their mouth. Oh, actually on the screen right now, that is one of the peacocks, which I'll show you this tank in a second, and that is the babies in her mouth. And I'll show you the babies in a second as well. Peacocks are in here. So there are the boys. So they are an albino red peacock. As to what type of a Lunacara, which is a peacock, no idea. Might be a hybrid. Who even knows? These are all so captive bred that they could be just a mix of a whole lot of different types of peacocks. But they're cool fish nonetheless. The big white guys in here are albino blue dolphins. And there is one, that girl there. She's got a mouthful at the moment. So I do need to condition these a little bit more and get them all breeding properly, but they've just started doing it, so it is good. We will have lots of Malawi cichlids eventually. The 4 foot tank behind all these plants that you can't see, I think there's about 80 or so of their fry in there. All these tanks are hooked up to one canister filter and a couple of 400-watt heaters. Canister filter is pumping the water up the top to this tank's overflowing to that tank, that's overflowing to that tank, and that's going back in there. Oh, and there are sponge filters everywhere as well. So I think we've got a couple of sponge filters, and a couple more sponge filters, and a big battery air pump up the top. So that's keeping all them happy at the moment. This system, oh goodness. Okay, I've done a few things in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think, since I've done the last update video. There was a whole lot of tanks here. They're now gone. That's my giant mess pile now. So I had 3-foot tanks here on a little system. Dodgy stand. Yeah, it just was not practical. The tanks were too shallow. Like, these are standard 2-foot by 1-foot tanks. These tanks were even shallower, so just not practical. When I had the L numbers in these, I had a stupid amount of fry growing up in these, all on this one sump. So this 6-foot sump powers these 12 2-foot tanks, and it was doing 3-foot tanks as well. So now that I've got rid of them, it is just doing these tanks here. All the L numbers are back in here, and L numbers are just a catfish. There's some tails there. So those are L333s, more L333s in there, albino L333s. Good thing with these little tiny catfishes, they don't do anything. They just sit in their logs, look pretty. At night they're out and about, and that is about it. So 201s, fancy ones, some other ones. There's some L numbers there. I can't remember what the hell they are. L somethings. A couple of blue angelfish. Aren't you pretty? There's the boy there. There's the girl there. I've split up a few of the angels. I did have these in my pools. Now I've split a few up. I've got a pair of, what were they called? Peru Ultim angels. So not the normal Ultims, just the crappy version. But we bred those ourselves a few years ago. Kept a pair back. That's my last pair. I think I've got a couple of random ones around the other side. I'll show you in a second. But they are doing their thing. Peppermints in there as well, and peppermints in there. This system, oh goodness me, where do we even start? Emerald cats, brooches, which are like a CORYDORAS but a little bit bigger. Some purple guppies, growing them up. There's going to be a huge mix in these tanks. So all these little guys in here, how cool are they? Those are my little Nicaraguan parrot cichlids, and there's a few random bristlenose growing up and stuff in there as well. Down the bottom in these tubs, we have some African cichlid fry. So these tubs aren't connected to the system, they're just sitting in the water so that they've got the heat to them. Because I do need to sort something out with these, so I've got some tanks on the same system so I can take the fry out and grow them up in the system. So I'm thinking maybe up there I can do a row of 2-foots or something. I'm not sure. I need a lot more grow out room, and we'll get to those tanks in a second about that, than what I have. And talking about needing more grow out room, that is ridiculous. So that is a whole lot of Central and South American cichlids. So we've got convicts, we have blue eye cichlids that look like convicts with little stripes. There's some albino ones in there as well. I don't even know what's in there. There's random fry in there. Those are our Lombardis. If we look through the side, how cool are they? So they have a high pH, so you don't want to mix these with your sort of Central and South American cichlids. So harder water, which is more mineral content, and a higher pH. So we keep them around about 8.1 for those little guys. But they're all born blue and stripy, and then they go yellow if they're boys, stay blue if they're girls. So very, very cool. Is this tank a nightmare? This tank's a nightmare. I have some very big fat CORYDORAS in there. So there's a peppered CORYDORAS, and I have a stupid amount of tadpoles. And we have a pink spawning mop. I know, but if anything lays their eggs in there, it's pretty much going to be eaten by the tadpoles straight away. So we're not too fussed about that. Need a reptile license or to keep amphibians and reptiles in Australia. So these are just my albino spotted marsh frog tadpoles. Yes, I do have albino spotted marsh frogs available if you're local, so just talk to me on social media. We have some fancy guppy fry growing up in here. We have some more fancy guppy fry growing up in here, all different types. These are little red nose ones. And we have more guppies in here. So all these tanks have CORYDORAS in the bottom as well. Just a mixture in there. One up the top, we have our albinos. So we have our long fin albino CORYDORAS. These are just my breeders. I think I've sold out of all their fry. And if we zoom in a little bit, those are albino blue guppies. So these are ones that were fry in the last few videos. And now they're looking super, super cool. So there's quite a few in there somewhere. More albino cories in here growing up. Some very, very cool sky blue endlers. Aren't they pretty? I do have these available from time to time, so if I'm a little bit slack with bringing them into the shop, just remind me and I can bring some in. Oh, what have we got? More CORYDORAS. I think they're just your gold laser cories way at the back that you can't even see. Doesn't really matter. And a few random endlers. That is sort of what is in that system. So all the fry that were in here, and not the L number fry, but all the American cichlid fry, they're around the side. There is our red-tailed cat just chilling. I did not clean any glass. I apologize. So we're just not going to look at that right now. But look at that. That is ridiculous. Why do I do this? Okay, so I'm going to try really hard not to grow up hundreds and hundreds of fish for a little bit, just to sort of chill and relax, but we're still growing up a lot of fry. These guys here are longfin cherry barbs. They'll be available in the shop soon, probably in the next week or so, so depending on when you see this, I've either got them available or they've all sold, but I can get more in that I haven't bred anyway. I have some big breeder blind cave tetras in there. They are huge with the lovely diatom algae. Oh, look at that. Baby wolf cichlids or dovey cichlids. In the tank next door, they're going to spook. We have some T-bar convicts, which are getting pretty big. They're very, very cool fish. Oh, the tank next door, I have more angels. There's a Peru ultim. There is a lovely blue, some girls, some CORYDORAS, all sorts of stuff in there. I think some hoplo catfish at the back. There's one coming over. Maybe, not really coming over. In the bottom tanks, I've just got a whole heap of stuff that we've bred growing out, like albino neons, some albino cherry barbs. I think I've sold out of all those now, but these are just my old breeders from last year. There's some albino random stuff in there too. That looks like an albino, what's that? Bloody albino lemon tetra at the front. Yeah, a couple of them. And who knows what else. I think some pencil fish. There might even be some rams in there somewhere. These tanks, nightmare. So many fry in these, it's not funny. All these tanks and all these tanks are on a 4-foot sump system down the bottom. That's why you can get away with having so many fish in there and it's not crashing the system or anything like that. So they just pretty much just drip through these crappy little pipes into my sump. It's been working great for like a year or so. This was rigged up for breeding tetras and raspora, and now it's a dumping ground for fry. I really need to sort out the tanks down the bottom here. So these tanks down the bottom are 4 foot by 3 foot, so they're a lot bigger than they look. For the last year and a half, I have not had them on a system. So I've had fish in there, like the African cichlids you saw. I've had baby fish growing up. I've had everything you can imagine in those tanks. Too lazy to hook them up with just getting a little bit more pipe and then connecting pipe up here, having overflows dripping in these, overflowing into these, and then going into a sump. Where these bananas are, and they're very big bananas, is where I'm going to put one of those black tubs. And then that black tub will be my sump for these. So I'm just going to drill a hole in the bottom of the tub. So these are all sitting there. And then hopefully that water level will be lower than that water level. So when the water gets pumped out, it will trickle into these and these will just overflow into there. Yeah, how am I going to get that sump lower? I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but then I don't need that much water in it, so I think these tanks here, if I have the water level to there in my sump, and I have that water there, that's going to be enough for the gravity to siphon and go into there, then get pumped back up under here into all these tanks. Well, that's the plan anyway. So then these tanks are going to be for grow out, because they're a sensible size for grow out. They're not that practical to have fish that you want to see what they're doing with spawning and stuff like that, which is perfect for little tanks like these. Oh, we got a fry up there. Look at him. I'm not too sure where he came from, but he's in there. We'll just let him do his thing. But yeah, these are a lot easier to maintain and check what the fry are doing and stuff, where these are just going to be fine for grow out. I will get round to showing you that tank again, but if you haven't seen that tank, there'll be a link in the end of this video. It just shows you all the Central American, South American and Southeast Asian fish. Redtail cat has been in a few videos lately too. I'm not even going to go into that tank. That's a 6x3x3 with just nightmare grow out. Lovely groper is not impressed at the moment. He is way down the back. He might come up. He's thinking of coming up. No, he's not going to come up. No, he's not going to come up. He's probably cranky because I have not cleaned his algae and it's not feeding day for him, so he's just going to go, no. But he will be going into a bigger tub soon as well. I have to move these bloody plants around. But that is where we are with our fish room at the moment. Oh, I did set up these two tanks here, and these are 4 foot by, what are these? 4 foot by 20 by 20. L numbers, some bristle nose. They are just hooked up to this system. So these 12 2-foot tanks and these 2 4 foots are all on the 6 foot sump. There is no filter media in my sump. Why is there no filter media in my sump? Because that is just to hold water. The filters are individual tanks, so I can turn off any tanks I want. Only problem I've got at the moment is heating, so I have like 300 watt heaters, 400 watt heaters, and that just pumps through the whole system. That canister filter there is pumping water from the sump to the top tank, going to that tank, and then back into the sump. So all this water is connected, separate than this water, because we've got a different GH to that water than this water. And as I said, the little tubs with the African cichlids are on different water again. They're just sitting in there to heat themselves up. If you did enjoy this quick video of an update in my empty area, which hopefully will stay empty for a little bit longer, you know it's not going to. Click the thumbs up, otherwise we will see you in one of the next videos. Thanks heaps for watching. Oh, there's links on the screen if you want to watch the older videos. See you later.